Hey guys, welcome back. We're gonna lay down the rap sheet on the Bethesda conference. They got a lot of making up to do from the last year. So here I am, Tin Man and Nick. We're gonna give you the rundown and have Todd Howard personally come in here and make an apology to all of you.
In fact, Todd Howard is going to come into everybody's home to apologize to them.
Personally.
And on that note, notice how this show had a much decreased Todd Howard appearance.
Presence. Oh my god, that poor guy. He was getting grilled in every small conference too, and just every question was basically, so how are you going? What are your regrets? How are you going to make this up? It was basically him just like saying like 100 Hail Marys to the whole community, and I feel like at this point, everything that they had planned for their big gun, like Fallout 76, is basically just an apology to get back in everyone's good graces for everything else, like all their other games that are coming out.
And also some of their promises that they're talking about for Fallout 76 this year stand in complete contrast to their initial promises for Fallout 76 when they were announcing it. Because they're like, before they were like, there are no NPCs.
Here they are.
Oh, here are NPCs. They're going to offer you quests, and there are going to be choices, and there's going to be a story.
Right.
So the fact that the game is actually going to have a story beyond just kind of explore and be told what to do by robots.
Also, there will be no Battle Royale mode. Oh yes, there will.
Everything will have a Battle Royale.
Everything will be.
It's only a matter of time
Fortnite.
Before Skyrim Battle Royale hits the shores.
It's coming. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how much time you put into 76. Like, I'm willing to go back and play a lot more of this game once this stuff comes out now. It sounds really interesting.
I think a friend of mine and I, we've been playing it on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
I think we're at like level 40-something.
Oh, wow, okay.
So we're almost towards the end of the main story.
Yeah.
So
I feel like if you have a good group to play with, it is an awesome game, though.
Yes, although that's less about the game and more about the having good times with friends.
I agree, yeah.
Like, it makes up for the lack of quality in the game. And the thing is, the game has so many
It's kind of like Red Dead Online. It's just about screwing around with your friends and much less about how good the content of the multiplayer is.
But I mean, like, with Fallout 76, though, there are times in which we'd be playing a game, and sometimes you'd go to a new area, and the people you'll be fighting are level 5, level 6.
That's irksome.
Then you'd go to the next area, and then suddenly a giant, like, Scorch Beast shows up and starts...
Couple of death claws
and it's like, wait, what? Where did...
It's all over the place.
So there's a lot of difficulty scaling issues.
True.
A lot less griefing than you'd expect.
Yeah, I think I'm optimistic about this, and I think they're doing the right thing, having this massive apology and giving lots of content to try and make it right. Will it get people to go buy their copies back? Probably not. I think people have been burned, like, fool me once, you don't get fooled again. But this is work that they need to do to get back in the good graces, so they're not the joke of the industry.
Either they abandon the game or they make the game good.
Yep.
Square Enix managed to do that with Final Fantasy XIV.
That's true, yep.
In theory, Bethesda can do that with Fallout 76.
I really believe they will, too.
Now, another game they announced last E3 that hasn't been faring too well is Blades. The Elder Scrolls Blades. Which I actually have played a little bit of. Because I've got a cell phone, so why not?
I think I just kind of burned myself out forever on Elder Scrolls since Skyrim. Like, I played it so much I don't ever need to play another.
That you don't need to play a lesser version of it?
Looks awesome.
It does look cool based on the cinematic trailer.
Right.
But it's like, how much of it... That's what I wrote down. Turn into a skeleton man.
Can I be a skeleton man, please? This was kind of a year of a lot of, like, that. Like, we'll get to that, but I want to play a grandma in England, a sassy grandma in London, England.
Assassin grandma that don't take no sass.
Exactly.
But no, so with Blades and Fallout 76, it feels like they're trying to repair community.
Right.
With Elder Scrolls Online, they're trying to maintain community.
Right.
But I feel that Bethesda had more interesting new stuff to talk about. With Ghostwire Tokyo.
That looks cool.
From the makers of Evil Within and Evil Within 2.
That looks super cool. It's like a rapture. It's like Thanos has snapped and everyone's just disappearing and you're like a ninja with bow and arrow trying to stop the ghosts.
But it also feels like they're giving the lead designer of Tango Gameworks, something different to make. Instead of, hey, make Resident Evil again.
Don't do that.
No, make something new. And I think, with Kojima especially, and Tango Gameworks designer, it is helping both of their careers by making new things.
Shinji Mikami. Yeah. I mean, he's an auteur creator, and he's got a good, resume, so people will buy games on that. He's a good creator, and I think this looks interesting. Will I buy it? Probably rent it. I gotta see more gameplay. We don't know much about this yet, so.
I really dug Evil Within 1 and 2.
I remember you loving those games.
I played both of those completely. So
was that Del Toro? He had a hand in that or something? Or
I don't think so.
Which one am I thinking of?
You're thinking of the first attempt at Silent Hills.
You're right. That never came out.
Never came out.
Yeah. That was awesome and had a demo and then didn't happen.
But also there's Ghostwire from Tango Gameworks.
Yep.
But it's also, like you said, hard to kind of tell where the gameplay starts.
Yeah.
And another game that kind of is new for the company, where it's also kind of hard to tell where the gameplay starts, is Deathloop.
But it's
from Arcane Studios.
Who did Dishonored, which I adore.
Who did Dishonored, who did Prey.
Yeah. Very good pedigree, really interesting ideas at work, and if it's really two different assassins with opposing philosophical viewpoints, on time and fate and...
But are you going to be playing as both assassins?
I almost thought it sounded a little bit like it was going to be like Master Chief and Arbiter from Halo 2, where you'd switch back and forth, and eventually they would come together.
As you're fighting yourself?
I guess that would be interesting.
So yeah, there's a lot of questions to be had in regards to, or answers to be had in regards to where the gameplay is actually going to be going, especially since, is it going to play similar to Dishonored or to Prey? How is it going to play?
Yeah.
You look at the way people move in that game.
Oh yeah.
When you're
wall
playing
running and teleporting and switchbacks, it kind of looks a little bit like the Dark Tower to me. Did it evoke Idris Elba to you a little bit?
Just consider the fact that the main character is a gunslinger.
Right.
He wakes up on a beach.
Right.
He's trapped in a cycle.
I thought was this originally intended to be a Dark Tower video game and they changed it or something? Because the movie didn't go off well. I really got that vibe and I'm okay with that. Sign me up for a Dark Tower series.
Or spin-off ideas.
Sure.
See, then there's Commander Keen now has a new video game.
Why, though? That's a bastardization. Call it something else. We don't need 20 Wolfenstein titles either. Don't get me wrong, Youngblood looks interesting. I like my co-op.
I don't know, if we've got Machine Gun Games making it.
Yeah.
We can have as many Wolfenstein... Although, like I said about Kojima, I feel that eventually a studio should be allowed to do something different.
Right.
Because if they keep making the same games
over and
over,
out, it's going to be garbage. It's kind of like James Gunn. He'll do a studio pick. He'll do his Guardians 3, but then he'll go do, his Brightburn. He'll go do something of his own just to, exercise his actual freedoms and do things he wants to do. And I think it's good that way, but I feel like these are studios that are just going to get burned out and become milquetoast. You don't want to be constrained by a publisher that way.
Although, consider the fact that Wolfenstein Youngblood isn't actually just made by Machine Games. It's Machine Games and Arcane Studios.
Right.
So that makes me wonder if Machine Games also has another focus that they're actually working on. And that's the reason why both studios...
well, who's doing Cyberpilot, then? The VR...
Cyberpilot, the VR thing?
Yeah.
Well, I guess, I don't know. That depends on how big the VR game is.
Right.
Was that what they were making on the side? But I think Wolfenstein Cyberpilot might succeed as a VR game for reasons that a lot of games don't. in that you're piloting something.
Yeah.
I find that games where you're piloting a mech or piloting a machine or
absolutely right
in VR,
that sense of like removed immersion. Like what was that game with the giant controller? Like was it Mechasoft or? Do you remember? It's like a giant dashboard. I'm sure you've got it laying around here somewhere. But,
not yet, but one day.
One day. But yeah, stuff like that with a crazy peripheral or something that like kind of removes you from your bodily sense of things works really well.
But also like with it helps you kind of disconnect your movement from your sight.
Yes.
Like in Star Wars Battlefront, they had a VR expansion where you were piloting around an X-wing. And you could still you'll understand that looking around means just moving your head, but moving is the analog stick, as opposed to say other games like
Super Hot or
no Super Hot. You're kind of limited to where you're moving, but there are some other games where you would move around with the analog stick without moving in your chair.
Yeah, and
it could lead to people getting nauseous.
That's true.
I tried playing Rise of the Tomb Raiders VR mode.
That sounds horrible.
They took the mansion part and they put it in VR.
Okay.
And my head was just...
Yeah, jumping off balconies.
It was just
dizzy.
And there was no jumping. It was just walking around.
Oh, jeez.
But like, everything was so constrained that it just felt awful.
I don't like the feel of VR. It's not quite there yet. It's getting there. Clearly, but it's just not there yet.
Like they made an attempt with Doom VR, and it's not terrible. It works because it still kind of focuses on your movement around a specific place.
That's true.
But it's definitely going to have nowhere near the speed you'll have in Doom Eternal.
Right. That looks awesome. Like the level design being so open, the movement being so fluid.
And that's something they definitely showed off
in
this specific demonstration, is just how fluid your movement is. Like, it's not just double jump, it's like climbing, it's dashing.
It looks good. I'm a big Doom fan, so...
Although it kind of, it feels like I don't remember the Doom guy grunting so much. It
was like a tennis match. I'm like, come on.
Like, he kind of sounds like Serious Sam as he's grunting.
Yeah.
Like, every time he takes damage, it's always just...
There's a market for that, man. That's some people
need those voice samples.
That's a good voice acting gig. Okay, Rage 2 looked interesting. Okay, so some companies that... I feel like id is just one of those companies that makes really good, cool, technical stuff. I just wish there was more to the Rage gameplay and community and something to give it a little more pizzazz. Spice it up so it's cool to talk about, or just something to it.
Instead of...
Did you play the first one?
Which one?
Rage.
I played the first one.
Yeah.
And I mainly actually kind of avoided the second one because it didn't carry on the story.
That's what pissed me off about it. I was like, why do they need to make this new now? I mean, the mechanics are all there. It's technically cool. It's just, I want a verse to be invested in.
Although I do like the company that made this Rage 2.
Yeah.
They made the Mad Max game.
Yeah.
Which was solid.
Totally, but no one bought.
It had a great beginning, a fantastic ending, and then...
Cool car mechanic stuff.
It got repetitive.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I'm worried about for Rage 2. Though, if you are into Rage 2, they've got expansion content, so...
Sure.
It's all about maintaining that community, carrying it on to the DLC. And we would like to hopefully maintain your interest to the next time, where we'll be discussing Devolver Digital.